What's up, YouTube? Today we're going to be looking at a little bit of a core breaker, and that is Shadow Alolan Sandslash. It's back. We've seen this thing in the Great League before. I saw way too many teams double weak to ice, and I decided I needed to bust it back out. And lo and behold, it makes a great core with two buffed Pokemon in Golisopod and Jellicent. And that's because it is weak to Fire, Fighting, and Ground. Golisopod covers all three like nearly perfectly. It resists ground, it resists fighting, and then into neutral to fire, but then you have super effective coverage for fire. And then Jellicent resists fighting, it resists fire, and you have super effective coverage for ground. So yeah, without further ado, let's hop into some battles. Okay, right away, we've got a Steelix on the lead. This is a matchup where you kind of wish you were the non-Shadow because the Thunderfangs just really start to add up, but they actually come in right away with a Annihilate. So I'm just going to come in with my Golisopod because I don't want to take super effective damage with my Jellicent with that Rage Fist, even though we could survive one. And we do farm up and we throw right before they get to the next move, but they have baited out a water type to punish their Annihilate, which is probably exactly what they want to do because now they're going to come out loaded with energy, and if they're running Earthquake, this could get dangerous. I do get one turn lag as I come in. We'll see if that matters later in the match. They do just bait with a Psychic Fangs, and now I am going to full send the Drill Run in case they decide to no-shield this. But they don't. I think an Ice Punch probably would take out from this range, but Steelix is pretty bulky. And I let the next one go. It's just another Psychic Fangs. I am able to get to the Ice Punch again, and this will either grab the last shield or KO, and it does KO, and it's a Jumpluff in the back. So this is a little bit difficult, but fortunately for me, they throw an alignment for the first one, which is really nice because I get an entire Hex in for free, and that's a lot of free energy. And they do just bait with an Aerial Ace, but that's okay. I think I can go straight Shadow Ball in this matchup and still be okay. They will be able to survive one. I don't want to have to try and call the bait twice, so I'm going to shield again. And fortunately, they do full send the Energy Ball that time, but they get the defense drop, which is really unfortunate for us. But all we got to do is make it to another Shadow Ball before they can make it to another move, and we will be able to outpace because they full sent the Energy Ball. And that KOs the Jumpluff, so we're able to take that win. Okay, into the next match, Swalot. So this is a Pokemon I saw absolutely everywhere, and there's a reason behind this, is because it was on the winning team at the most recent regional, and it was also everywhere in that regional. So also they come in with a Sableye because both of their charge moves are double resisted on the Sandslash. So Sandslash is a great answer for it. Jellicent is a great answer for it because, yeah, we resist all the charge moves, single resist on Jellicent, but still crazy. But yeah, so it was absolutely everywhere in the tournament. I kind of expected having two answers to it on this team would work out if we did eventually see one. Swalot is really bulky, and unfortunately for them, they miscount, they lose track of our energy, and they throw on CMP instead of throwing one before, which is pretty unfortunate for my opponent because now we've gotten rid of their Swalot and their Sableye, which they came in with, and it is a Guzzlord in the back. So thank God we aligned our Jellicent to the Swalot, or thank God we have two answers to it, really. But now, all we have to do is make it to two Ice Punches before they're able to make it to two Brutal Swings, and it looks like we should be able to do that. They bait with a Dragon Claw. Maybe they're on Dragon Claw Crunch, but either way, we'll be able to outpace, and they're not going to be able to farm us down before we get to another charge move, so they have to throw, but this is double resisted no matter what it is, and that does no damage. We'd be able to get the full farm down, and we're able to take that win. Grimer, this is a totally different poison type because this one is running Mud Slap. So we come in with our Golisopod and we bait out a what's the name of it? Jesus, the Guzzlord. Oh my god, I completely blanked. Either way, we bait out the Guzzlord. This might be a match we can flip. Like, Shadow Claws are resisted, but X-Scissors are obviously super effective, and we can always double up before they can get to a third charge move. And fortunately, I do get to a third one, so they're going to have to expend 2 shields if they want to keep switch, and they don't, which is actually pretty nice for us because poison, the sludge charge move is resisted on our Jellicent. Mud Bomb is neutral, so they'll just go for Mud Bomb here, and they do. But now we have the alignment that we want, and we can just go for Surfs here. Grimer is pretty glassy, especially the Shadow, so I am just going to go for the Surf. Yeah, they barely live that, and it's a Furret in the back. And this is a matchup where all of their charge moves are resisted, so in case they Trailblaze, I'm going to let the first one go, and they do. But now these Sucker Punches are really starting to add up, but we do make it to back-to-back Ice Punches, and they actually let the first one go, pretty aware for my opponent, realizing that one would not KO, and that they should have committed to a Sucker Punch farm down there instead of throwing. But I think I can get to another charge move after grabbing that shield. So now the Surf will be able to KO the Furret, and we should be able to Hex down the Grimer before they make it to 2 charge moves. And we are able to take that win. Okay, Clodsire. This is a fantastic lead. They're going to get out into Furret, so we're going to do the same thing as we're going to go for the Ice Punch, not giving them that turn back that they lost while they switched. But then I have to kind of stay in this matchup because I have 2 Shadow Claw users in the back, and they can't really throw a charge move here. And I have Jellicent for the Clodsire either way, and honestly both my back Pokemon would do fine with shields, but I do want to at least grab maybe both from them if I can, because I will always be able to outpace, and just like that we are able to make it to the Ice Punch. Are we going to be able to get the knockout is the question. No, and they actually get 2 Sucker Punches in when we get 1, so that's a little weird. But either way, I can just come in with the Jellicent. They're only at a Swift here, so I can take this even though I get 1 turn switch, and they get a free Sucker Punch in, but that is okay. That shouldn't make a difference. I guess we'll see. And then they get 1 turn switch, so yeah, right back to neutral. That's the state of the game that we play, unfortunately. And I try and go for a Dark Pulse catch on my Gliscod. I'm unsuccessful, but this means we've baited out the Clodsire again, which is nice. But we also have an energy lead, so the question is, no, they are going to make it to a charge move right before we can get to it, but this will allow me to overfarm, and they full send a resisted move, which is a little bit interesting. And then it looks like they were going to go for the Sludge Bomb. I'm not really sure what my opponent's doing, but I make it to back-to-back moves. I am throwing the X-Scissor for some reason instead of the Aqua Jet. Just go for the Aqua Jet. It's better damage per energy at this range, or at any range really, but they aren't able to KO, and I try and go for an Aerial Ace catch. I'm unsuccessful, but this means I can get to a Surf. And as long as my opponent cannot get to back-to-back moves, we should be okay, because I don't believe 1 Dark Pulse even KOs from this range. But we're about to find out. It doesn't. And so they're forced to throw once again, but they are at this point in Shadow Claw farm down range, and there's no way they're going to be able to Snarl farm me down. So we get the Shadow Claw farm down range, which we shouldn't have even needed to get because we should have thrown the Aqua Jet, but regardless, we're able to take that win. Guzzlord on the lead in the next match. This is a great matchup for us, and they're staying in. And then they show us why. They've got a Swalot in the back. I should throw this move and then immediately get into Jellicent. No. I come in with Gliscod. I think the reason I'm coming in with Gliscod here is because, 1, I know I can keep switch either way because I chipped, and I can throw on CMP to win that, but this means I can also come out with energy to threaten the Guzzlord with the X-Scissors. So now, yeah, my opponent's going to have to either start giving up shields or they're going to have to take loads of damage. So that's actually a pretty heads-up play from past me. Good job, pat on the back me. But now we come in and we are able to get to 2 X-Scissors, and they're just going to let that go. And it's a Talonflame in the back. We are able to preserve the Gliscod for a catch later if we need. And we're able to throw on decent timing, able to get to the Surf. and we should have this in the bag because we can probably get to 3 surfs before they get to 3 flies is my guess. It's going to be close. I think they're already at basically back-to-back flies. Or no, I think they're 1 away from back-to-back flies, but they do throw right away, so which means now I can just click the move. Surf will be enough to KO from this range, and it is, so we're able to take that win. Into the next match, we've got a Weezing. This is also a great lead, assuming they're not running Overheat. So what we're going to do is we're going to throw on CMP with a potential Overheat, and they actually did farm up to it, so no way they're actually running it. Okay, no, they bait me with a Sludge. It's a decent play from my opponent, because you never know, Weezing could be running Overheat in this meta, and then they farm back up to it, but I'm like, no way you're actually running it. So I call the bait, and it is just a Sludge, but yeah, they really made me think there. I was like, seriously, am I about to get overheated? But we do get to the Drill Run. This should be enough to KO, and then they shield. And now I'm like, okay, what is going on? You have to have Overheat. And they do. The only Weezing with Overheat in this entire meta. Absolutely insane. And then they come in with Cradily. I try and go for a catch, and I make a super effective Rock Tomb catch on my Gliscod. It's fine. We are able to live it, and we will be able to make it to a charge move here. And Aqua Jet will be enough to KO from this range, even with the debuff. And are they going to come back in with their Weezing is the question. No, they're going to come in with Guzzlord, and this is tricky because now I have to come in with my Sandslash. And fortunately, we have loads of stored energy, so we are able to get to this Ice Punch. That does huge damage. And they are able to make it to a charge move, but at this point, pretty sure we can, maybe not Hex Farm down, but at least make it to a Surf. I don't know. They are going to get off a super effective Brutal Swing, but we know their Weezing is energy dry. So at this point, I just throw 1 Hex and then the Shadow Ball because I just want to get it out of there. I could have thrown 2, but I wasn't sure of what their residual energy was, and that still allows me to outpace the Guzzlord, make it to a Surf, and Surf from 1 HP will be enough to KO the Guzzlord, so we're able to take that win. Into the next match, we've got Talonflame. This is a terrible lead. We're going to throw 1 Powder Snow, get out into our Gliscod, because even with the Powder Snow, we are still able to outpace and make it to an Aqua Jet. And now that means we will always be able to outpace the Talon, because in order to throw the charge move, they need to let 1 move through, and we can always get 2 during their charge move. So we will always be able to outpace. There's nothing really my opponent can do, unless they can try and go for the full Incinerate farm down, but I don't think they're going to get it. And now they do grab both shields, and it's a Gastrodon in the back, so now we see why they were so reluctant to come in with any Pokemon in the back. And if this is their best answer to a Golisopod, I've got bad news for them, because we have another water ghost-ish Pokemon in the back, and its name is Jellicent. I'm overfarming here because this is only a Body Slam. Yeah, so my opponent was just kind of getting the chip off that they could, but at this point, whatever is in the back now has to take a super effective charge move, and they try and go for a Peekaboo catch play, but we hold on to our energy, allows us to get to the Surf to KO the Talonflame, and now we should be able to outpace and make it to the Shadow Ball, and Jellicent is absolutely sweeping this game with 3 KOs. Alright, into the next match, we've got a Grumpig. So this is an okay lead because Psywaves are resisted and we will be able to outpace. However, Dynamic Punch is double super effective, so after I throw this charge move, I'm going to get out instantly in a Gliscod. Unfortunately, they don't throw their energy, but that's okay. And I also throw an Alignment when I get to the X-Scissor, which is unfortunate, just poor timing on my part. Which means they will be able to outpace, but I can survive 1 charge move here, unless it's, I think, a Crunch. But I do survive a Brutal Swing, and it would have been close on the Crunch, but I wouldn't have been able to go for 1 Shadow Claw and the move. So that means we grab Switch, which is nice, And now we can get the full farm down of the Guzzlord, and I believe they're in perfect 5 Powder Snow farm down range. Another thing about this team is I'm running Powder Snow on the Sandslash, and that's just because both of your back 2 Pokemon are using Ghost type fast moves, so it kind of just makes sense. And they've got a Furret in the back, which is really uncomfortable. I need them to let this go, and they do, which is massive. I will respect a potential Trailblaze here, probably. Yes, okay, good, because I don't think they're going to get the 2 moves. And this is likely a Shadow Ball, so I have to double shield instantly on my Jellicent. But the question is, can we make it to 2 moves, or can we farm them down and they actually make it to a Shadow Ball? Can we live this on 1 HP? We can. Jellicent's bulk, able to farm them down, able to get to a Surf. The Sucker Punch did go through, so it probably will KO. That's okay because we have it. Oh, they didn't throw a fast move. They forgot our Sandslash was still alive, so we actually take the win instead of the draw. That is crazy. Yeah, okay, absolutely madness. Into the next match, we've got a Psywave Lapras on the lead. Psywaves are resisted, so I'm just going to throw a drill run and then get out of into this matchup. One of the really unique things about Jellicent is it walls all of the moves that like Lapras, Blastoise, a Golisopod are running in the current meta. So I think that's where its unique play becomes really apparent. It also walls like Toxapex, and obviously you got the Hex buff. So I think that's why Jellicent is so strong in the current meta. Of course, I get my fast move denied. That's just typical at this point. Crunch rocks the Sandslash too, which is pretty unfortunate. I'm not able to get the full farm down, so I make an Aqua Tail catch onto my Jellicent, and at this point they're not going to be able to get to another charge move. And this is resisted, so I'm just going to let this go. It is the Sparkling Aria. That does absolutely nothing to the Jellicent. But we haven't seen what's in the back, so I need to start shielding something. And we need to be able to start grabbing shields. So now I overfarm, make it to the Shadow Ball. This will be enough to KO the Lapras, and then they shield, which is insane. And then I make a crazy catch onto my Sandslash, so I don't have to waste that last shield because I don't know what is in the back, and they're clearly weak to the Jellicent, and they come back in with Dravion only to get Hex Farm down. Are they going to show us what's in the back? What is that third Pokemon? No, they're going to come back in with a Lapras. So they just want to get KO'd with a Shadow Ball. What is that Pokemon in the back? It's a Clodsire, and that kind of explains why. Poison Sting, their fast move, is resisted here, so they have no potential to farm down, and they take super effective damage from the Surf. We're able to make it to 2, but the question is this enough against the bulky Clodsire? And it's not, which is really scary because now this becomes a bait game. I mean, obviously they only have to go Sludge Bomb here, but can we outpace? We're only 2 hexes away, and we can. We make it to the Surf before they're able to make it to 2 Sludge Bombs. So the pacing advantage on Jellicent, so we are able to take that win. And yeah, into the last match of the video, we've got a Drapion on the lead. They get out into Dusk Noir. We're going to get out into our Golisopod. Golisopod, obviously super effective Shadow Claws. We can let one Shadow Punch go, and they are on Hex, but I don't want to throw an alignment, so I actually let them get to another charge move, because now I will be able to get to the back, so that way, if they do want to throw another charge move, then I will have one loaded, and they do shield, so I'm just going to click the move, and fortunately we are able to get this Aqua Jet off because we win CMP. So we take it to the 1s, we come out of that matchup in the 1s, which is nice. We are also able to make it to an X-Scissor against this Shadow Lapras, which was not their lead Pokemon because that was a Drapion, and just barely unable to get the X-Scissor. But guess what, Lapras? You're walled. And now we just have our Sandslash in the back. We can just go straight Ice Punch at this range. And they shield, and then they instantly resign the match because they no longer have a win con. So we are able to take that win. So yeah, I mean, that's the core breaking potential of the Shadow Alolan Sandslash. I didn't see too many teams that were double weak to Ice in these particular games, but I saw it a lot in past weeks, and I'm expecting to see it again. So definitely keep this team in your back pocket. I think Jellicent has a lot of play, and then Gliscod as a safe swap, obviously super strong. I think just a more meta version of this team is just Thunderfang Steelix on the lead, and then you've got a really strong team in general. So yeah, that's going to be it from me. Thank you all so much for watching, and until next time, peace.